All right, welcome to the Double Philip Finance Show. Today we're going to talk about budgeting, and maybe you call it a spending plan, whatever you call it. We understand that personal finance is personal, and figuring out a way to manage your money that works for you is a key part of planning.
Phil and I are financial coaches, and both of our channels focus on personal finance, where we share tips and strategies to help you save, budget, eliminate debt, achieve financial security. And if you're interested in personal finance and all the things that go along with it, then this video is for you.
So let's get into today's topic. We're going to talk about budgeting. So how do you make sure you're not overspending, and how do you prepare for emergencies? Or better yet, how do you know you are reaching your money goals? Today, we're going to share how we personally tackle these questions. You'll see that we have entirely different ways of tackling the same topic. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Our varying approaches work for us. And there are many other different ways to approach creating a spending plan. Some things just work better for other people.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share with you my method of budgeting. And I started working on my 2021 budget. It needs a little bit more work, but there's some things that I have down for January, February, and I can go ahead and show you the way that everything gets into my budgeting. But first, I want to show you how my initial paycheck kind of gets broken up before it even gets into that checking account. I use a couple of different checking accounts to sort of help me with my budgeting. And basically, this is the breakdown here. I have my paycheck will get investment accounts, 5% for a Roth taken right off the top. And then I have 3 separate accounts. So for my airplane, I have a cash management account where $200 will go into there for, and that's a pay period. $200 will go in there for like hangar expenses, insurance, and things like that. And then I have my free spending checking account. Now, this is things like eating out, things that change month to month that are fairly difficult to track with a budget. I'll just spend out of here, and I don't track it. I just allocate $400 pay period. I'll save some up, so then that way sometimes I have a little extra to spend for going places, eating out, but that's kind of my buffer in my free spending account. And then the remainder will make its way into my regular checking where I do my billing, and that account stays separate, where I don't really draw off that account unless emergencies or something like that comes up. But so my budget is based off of my main checking account, and I'll go ahead and show you that. So I have set up my budget for that checking account to kind of mimic or match what we do for our budgeting with the HOA. And one of those things is we will budget, or estimate what we're going to have for the budget for the year, and then we'll put in our actuals. But the main thing that I like to see for mine is to show a variance for the month if I was under or over my estimated targets. And so you'll see here in these 3 columns, I have my January budgeted, January actuals, and then my variance for January. And I'll go ahead and go down and break it down for you what I have here. So for my income, I have my main paycheck goes in, and I have a couple other line items there for some family members that we share wireless cell phone account, so they'll pay into that, and then I just make the payment for it. And then I have eBay, Venmo, PayPal, where I sell things on eBay and then locally with offer up, things like that. So I'll get money in where it'll transfer in from those items. And I don't usually have a set amount for those, so they're just there as a placeholder, because when I do my monthly bills, I'll make adjustments and I'll put all that information in there. And then so for my expenses, I have my mortgage, and let me go back a slide here. I just jumped ahead a slide. I have my mortgage here, and I try to balance everything out throughout the year. And so I have my paychecks are biweekly, and so I do a biweekly mortgage payment that's automatically withdrawn from my account. It takes half, so right when I get paid, it comes out. And for me, it sort of helps balancing it out where I don't have a large mortgage to pay in half the month, and then have a large paycheck in the other half of the month. So I like to balance it out, but also that helps with getting one extra payment a year, because there's ends up being 26 payments instead of 12 divided by 2 is 24. So you get actually 2 extra payments, which equals 1 extra monthly payment. That just goes straight to the equity and or paying down the principal. So the next item here, I have all of our car insurance is on there. That's pretty easily estimated. HOAs, that's the same amount every month. My utilities, Roseville, electric, water, sewage, trash, everything other than gas is all together in that one. And what I do with my utilities and gas is I do a balanced billing where they will estimate out what you're going to use throughout the year, and then they will charge you one flat fee throughout the year. So then I can put it in my budget, and it's really easy to forecast, because I'm paying estimated going to be $245. It got adjusted this year, so it was a little bit lower. I think our bills went up, so now I'm paying $245, and the $310 that I paid this month is a little bit of catch up for last month. And so, but it'll be $245, and I have Comcast on there, Netflix. Those are all pretty standard, I guess. The PG&E is the other. That's the other balanced bill item that it's a flat 57, and actually it's going up as well. It's going to be 66 a month, and you'll probably see that on the next month. I think it's updated. We have a pool service come out to service our pool, and so there's that. Down in here, I have a couple credit cards where some of these payments we use for like travel and things like that. That's one area that could probably use some cleanup, is this, spending with credit cards and not budgeting for certain items like that. And that's definitely one thing to watch if you're not keeping track of that. This AT&T is our wireless bill that we have the shared accounts, so that's what that's accounting for. ACS, our son goes to private school, so we budget for that, and that's the monthly rate there. And then I also have a couple line items down here for some additional funds to go towards brokerage accounts to invest in post-tax investments, brokerages, and stuff like that. And so that's my January. This January we put a large check in there, so it's the variance is off. It's definitely not going to be like that every month, but that's my January. So I did just finish up February, and I have that here. So February is very similar, and I have my paychecks. One other thing to note is I like to do my. Let me show you here. So my week that starts in January is actually a December 31st paycheck, because I pay all my bills the first of the month, and some of it I try to split up as well. So like my Roseville utilities isn't due until the end of the month, so I'll pay that, to kind of split things up. I'll pay it on the end of the month, but I like to use this certain checks as the starting point of my month. And so then it'll go 2 weeks and then 2 more weeks. So I have basically 4 weeks in this budgeted month, but it starts the 31st of December. And so this February it starts in the 28th of January, basically, as it goes with my budget. And then obviously there's 2 months where there's an extra paycheck in there. I think I have March and August is set up right now that it has three pay periods in there, and so those months I get a little extra pay in there. But anyways, that's how I do that. So If it looks a little funny with the dates, that's the reason. And so I have my February budgeted, February actual. Again, we have the cell phone payments, house mortgage comes out every payday, comes right out. Insurance, everything's basically the same. Roseville Utilities 245. Here's where PG&E actually increased 66. So that's my new balanced budget amount. It's going to be 66 for the rest of the year. And our pool service, a little bit more credit card spending, and AT&T Adventure Christian School. So that's the our private school spending there. And then again, down the bottom, I have some brokerage accounts, and this one's a little bit lopsided again. It's sort of like last month's, where I had a little bit more outflows going into a brokerage account for post-tax investing. And then up here, I have a negative with PayPal. I did a little bit of spending, and then there was a little bit of increase for some things that I was selling. And so those will hopefully balance out, or, watch for overages. And in this variance column, I have it set up where I can see, these red marks, or if I'm over or under, the yellow caution is kind of up to like $25 to, start paying attention, like, hey, these ones are going over. And then the X is over $25 variance. And then the same for down here, but the way they calculate it out, it's a little bit different. So like for February, this shows 40 and 15, and it's red because I haven't put it in yet. So right now I'm expecting 40 and I haven't got it yet. So that's how that works. And then for the expenses, if I plan, like on this one, for example, I plan 150 and I spent 157 and 76, then I'm 83 over my budgeted amount. So that's how that works. And down here at the very end, my variance, I am under for the month. And so also I have included in here a tracker for the year. So I like to look at these, month by month when I sit down and do my bills. That way I could just fill the information in. But then I have a slide I'm going to show you here with the whole year included, and it shows, like for January, these light blue and dark blue lines are surplus deficit budgeted and surplus deficit actual. And so like in January, we put in a large check. So we have this increase here for our actual, what we budgeted versus what we actually had. And so that's what this line is here. And it's showing, for the most part, I have mostly estimated that I'm going to have a surplus. And then these orange lines is my actual savings budgeted, which is this line here. And then throughout the year, as everything gets filled in, it will show my savings actual by the end of the year. And then at the end of the year, I can create a new one for 2022, re-estimate what my expenses are going to be, put some targets in there, and then go with that. And hopefully I can roll over a savings into the next year to start off the year with. And so that is that's my personal budget and how I do it. And that's all I have.
All right. So the way that I manage my spending is I set very defined budget categories. I actually use the tracking app Mint to monitor my progress throughout the month. Essentially, my budget is just a guide to direct my cash flow. I can easily see if I'm nearing my limit in any particular spending category, or if I'm nearing the limit for spending for the month overall. And that allows me to make better decisions to decide if I have some money to spend on something or not. So here's a look at my budget here. We have just kind of your typical types of things like car and house and student loans, certain amounts allocated towards eating out and groceries, and then different allotments for childcare and personal care and shopping. And for shopping, that's things like paper towels and toilet paper and basically Walmart trips for us. And then it also includes, maybe occasional things shopping wise, like if we want to get a new electronic or a new clothing item, that would all fall under shopping. And so with kind of big box stores like Walmart or Target, there is some maintenance required with the app to code transactions. And so it is a little bit more labor intensive than a savings first approach. So the one example comes to mind is I used to get diapers at Rite Aid all the time. And so now every time we go to Rite Aid, it codes them automatically as baby supplies. And so I have to go in there every time we go to Rite Aid and, code it as pharmacy or something else. Mint kind of tries to learn how you code certain stores. And so for Rite Aid, it just happens to do that incorrectly. I'm sure there's a way for me to fix that. I just haven't figured it out yet. But then there's other stores like Walmart and Target where if I'm buying groceries and shopping items, it's kind of all going to fall under one category or the other unless I split it out. So for those stores in particular, I will try and split out, $50 of that trip was groceries and the rest was shopping or something. And then the app also has no way of knowing where cash ATM withdrawals go or where personal checks go. So for every ATM withdrawal or check that I write, I'll have to, go in to the app and code that in a particular category after that check's cleared or after the ATM withdrawal has hit the app. And yeah, so this is currently my budget as of November 2020. My budget was a lot different when I had debt and I didn't have an emergency fund and was living paycheck to paycheck. I still have some money going towards long-term savings. It's like a Roth IRA account. And we also have some extra in here for just emergency fund as well. So next, we're going to go into a Q&A. We just came up with some questions that we could use to kind of stress test our approaches and try and shoot some holes into it. The first question is, how do you cover unexpected expenses when they come up? And that's like car repairs and medical bills as examples.
So for me, I guess I'll talk on that one for a minute. Unexpected bills that come up. Like I mentioned before, I have a main. All my savings comes off the top first. Everything goes into retirement accounts, and that's off the side. Then I have my main account with all my housing and utilities and things like that. But there's also a buffer set up in there where there's extra money saved in there. And then I have my regular daily monthly spending account. And the reason why I do that too is to kind of keep them separated. I don't carry, the card around for the other one. I usually do all my bills with the online checking, but when I have expenses that come up that are sort of unplanned, usually for me, what I'll do is I will use my monthly or daily checking account, and then I just will take a break from spending on other things for the remaining period if it can handle that. If not, then it rolls over into my my yearly annual budget, I guess, out of my main checking account. And then if they're larger items, I have drawn from retirement accounts, things like that, like our daughter needed some help with school and things like that. So we've taken larger amounts from that. But that's really, really rare. So for me, that's what we do when unexpected expenses come up.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of similar in that way. A lot of my budget categories are padded for things that come up not that often, like car repairs. I also have a house account that we have a kind of dedicated account for writing the mortgage check, and we put a little bit extra each month into that to kind of cover home maintenance, home repairs that come up occasionally, like getting the chimney swept or I don't know, moss from off the roof and things like that. And we also have some categories that we just don't use every month, that we just have extra padding in, like entertainment. We don't spend all of our entertainment money every month. If something were to come up, we could borrow from our entertainment fund, or our fast food money or restaurant money. And so that's kind of what we use for kind of smaller things that come up. We also have an HSA account to cover any medical bills that come up, and that's got enough in there to deal with most lab fees and things like that might come up. But then if something critical did come up, we have ample savings in our emergency fund that we could fall back on if absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, actually, what you mentioned about chimney sweeping and moss from the roofs. It's, it brings up an idea that, just even different geographical areas, you'll have totally different expenses like that, because over here in Sacramento, that's not even something that most houses don't even have a chimney now. And then the type of weather, that you get that accumulation, with what you guys have up there. That's something I never even would have thought about having as something to have in your budget, so that's kind of interesting. But also,
there's this kind of leads into our next question, which is there are some like annual and semi-annual types of expenses that come up. And for us, those are ones that if they weren't in your budget, you'd be caught off guard by them. So there are those, you kind of have to stay on your radar that, once a year, you gotta get the wood stove cleaned, or every 2 years, the septic pumped, and we're in rural area. So,
yeah.
But, more common to everyone else, you might have Christmas gifts or property taxes or AAA membership or Costco membership, like coming up with those types of annual expenses. How do you handle those within your budget?
So for me, the things that are semi-annual or they come up randomly. My thinking behind my second account in the search for that perfect account was this. I use Simple Bank, which it's an app sort of like Mint that goes along with the bank, but they do the envelope style budgeting where you can have these set aside accounts within the app, and then when you have different expenses come in, and you can allocate them to those set aside accounts. So that's what we were doing at first, and then I could never maintain the budgets. Eating out, Christmas always goes over. So that's how I try to do it, and we end up normally going over, but that's sort of what I do right now. But like I was saying before, that's going to go away. So I have to come up with another plan. I don't really like doing the set aside accounts because you have a certain amount set aside, and then you need more, so you end up pulling from another one. And so I kind of like just having that main $400 a pay period to sort of spend however, and then that's just how it goes. And then for like Christmas now, we'll start just buying things a little bit sooner, and that way we don't have just like a 1 month $500 bill or something like that.
Yeah, I think I used Mint's trend data and tried to come up with pretty accurate monthly allotments for everything. Kind of how you spread your electric bill out evenly throughout the year. I know about how much we spend on gifts um, or some of those other kind of more annual types of things. And so I have like $25 set aside for gifts each month, but I don't buy $25 worth of gifts every month. But those months that I don't use it, it kind of just accumulates in our checking account. And, the same thing applies to like personal care. Like we don't get haircuts every month. We don't go to the coffee shop every month. We don't have home improvement costs every month, but we have budget categories set aside for what we typically spend, for the year, and divide that by 12 to get at kind of an accurate amount to set aside each month for a monthly allotment.
Yeah, I think that's what was happening to me and to us as well, where we allocate a certain amount of spending to certain envelopes or certain budgets, and then you end up not spending. So then the next month you say, well, we got all this extra money in here, we're never going to use it, so we'll just start spending more on eating out, and then it just all gets kind of really convoluted. So the ones that really change a lot throughout the year to year, then that's what I like to just sort of allocate. All that goes to the that monthly budget one, and I could spend it however I want, and then it sort of takes a lot of the extra thinking out of it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it kind of all evens out. Like I said, gifts a good example. In my November budget I shared, we had more gift spending than $25 for sure, because we have Christmas coming up. We did a lot of our Christmas spending in November, and then my daughter's birthday's in January, so we have kind of the 1-2 punch there. But I mean, the same with like haircuts. It's some months you don't have any haircuts. Sometimes you and the whole family and all the kids get haircuts. And so there's going to be months you don't use it and months where you do. And ideally it all just kind of evens out. So anyway, different approaches to it. All right. Well, that's pretty much wraps up our kind of Q&A session for budgeting.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about, you can leave us some comments down below, and we'll be happy to answer anything. Possibly do another follow-up video if there's any in-depth questions. Phil and myself, we both are, like we said, financial coaches. So if there's any savings, debt, things that you're working on, personal goals that you'd like help with, we both have links for our calendars, and you can set up a 30-minute free one-on-one conference with us, and we'd be happy to talk it out and see if we're a good fit to work with us. And so again, thanks for watching, and we will see you soon.